Hey, it's Spence from LaunchFlows.com. I had a few questions today that asked how can I use the instant product sales page feature of LaunchFlows most advantageously. Now, this is available in the LaunchFlows documentation in general. If you go to LaunchFlows.com documentation and then go over here to the 5 methods for selling, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll notice that we talk about the instant sales page. And this is a handy feature that essentially does one major thing. It acknowledges that you already will have a product in WooCommerce that you're selling. So why not convert that kind of default WooCommerce filled with junk kind of page into something that's an amazing, powerful sales page using either Gutenberg or Elementor or your favorite page builder. So by checking a checkbox, you can take over that particular product page URL and build your own custom sales page with whatever tool you wish to use. Here I'm going to show you how this works because it's really, really useful. Now, let's start out with the basics. If we have in LaunchFlows a desire to customize the setup, I recommend that you go into the LaunchFlows main tab and set up things like I'm showing you. First of all, if you're using a theme other than Astra that doesn't have a special container, maybe make sure that you've got like a default setting of no more than 90% of the width. Otherwise, all your LaunchFlows pages are just going to, fill the space that they've got. I'm using Astra, so I don't need that. I really recommend that you enable the redirect to checkout after adding any product or cart if you do not use the normal shop page of WooCommerce. That is to say, if you have a shop where people are on a page with 10 products and you want them to just add and stay where they're at, don't use this option. But for any other normal sales funnel type of a site, like I'm showing here, we do want this option. That enables any add to cart button from any widget or otherwise to send the product right to the cart. You can disable all of the links that might go back to this individual product if you want. I just like keeping people who are already in the checkout from going backwards. And although these other two options are useful for other purposes, they don't apply to us here, neither does the registration. So if you have this one in particular set, that's going to be most important. Okay, now let's talk about the fact that we've got a product. Out of the box, I created a product, and this is a simple product. And this is what a typical default WooCommerce checkout would, single product page would look like. It's got a lot of junk on it. It's got related products and all this distraction, and it's got all the breadcrumb, it's got the categories. I don't want all this. So out of the box, if I go to this product and let's refresh this page because I no longer have Oxygen enabled. All right. If I go onto any product page that I've created under WooCommerce products and I scroll down to the product data, I have a simple product, virtual, $100. I go into the LaunchFlows tab and I enable the instant sales page option. Right off the bat, this accomplishes 99% of the benefit because watch what happens to this very busy, cluttered page with the product URL on it. It turns into something like this, where all the junk is removed. So right off the bat, this is a huge improvement. And of course, we can modify the image and do some other stuff if we want to do so. But like this right now, just that option is a perfect way to go. Now the question was asked, Spence, how can I customize this further? Okay, let's do that. I could use Gutenberg. I could use another page builder. I'll just show you how to do this with Elementor. I'm going to click on Elementor. The secret is you have to go from the default Elementor template into whatever layout option you want. It could be the canvas or the full width of Elementor. You could use the LaunchFlows template as well, but it's not necessary because this is not a checkout. But if you're thinking, Spence, could I turn a product into a checkout page? Why, yes, you could. So let's just go over here in the bottom left corner, settings. See where it says page layout default? That's the WooCommerce default template. For everything other than when you're trying to make a product into its own checkout page, just choose either Elementor Canvas or full width. Okay. Now, if you're working in Gutenberg, same idea. You can basically just switch to remove the normal code that WooCommerce would impose on that page. I'm just going to show you here in Elementor. So if I go to full width, what will happen is the page will show the header and footer, but otherwise will be blank because we've said, hey, don't show any of the default template stuff, right? So let's make sure we've updated it and then refresh the page. Sorry. Let's be sure to click the green button to update the page and then refresh, and the page will show blank. Okay, so now we've got a product page with the special URL that will, be reachable through all the normal means, but we're going to customize it with our own template. Now, here's what I think is the easiest way to do. Let's use the LaunchFlows direct checkout link with a pre-existing template that we can pop in the page in 2 seconds. So I'm going to use, let's say, Happy Add-ons, but I could use the Elementor Pro or anything else. And I don't know, I like maybe something like this. This looks like a product page ready to go. I just simply insert the template, change the image either manually or dynamically. Now, what do I mean by that? Manually, I can choose any image I want, right? So if I have Elementor Basic or not Pro, I just choose the product image that matches my product. But if I have Elementor Pro, I can dynamically do this. Watch this. I can instead choose the image dynamically, and I go here and I choose the featured image of the post. And that will achieve the same thing so that I can make a template that I can save, and every single product will just pull the thing that I need and make it happen. Kind of clever, cool, right? All right. Now, if I do this, let's change the button, and we want to make that the LaunchFlows direct checkout link. And for every product, if you recall from using LaunchFlows or our videos, every product will have the DNA programmed into the right-hand corner where there's a direct checkout link that will send this product to the checkout. So let's copy that link and simply assign it to this button. And again, I'm doing this one manually, but you could do this dynamically by taking the same URL structure and using the dynamic product ID instead. But I'll show you that in a second. So this would be, get it now. Update it. Now let's take a look at our amazing 2 minutes to make custom product sales page, right? The product is the URL. The button will send it to the cart. It's got everything I want. Click, sends it to the checkout page that I designated for the product where it's ready to buy. Simple, right? Now, it's slightly more interesting for variable products. If you have a variable product, you want to make sure that if you do it this way, that you add to the end and quantity equals, unless the product is set up as only being allowed to buy one of them, in which case you don't need this. So, for example, let me just show you, but if you were editing your product, WooCommerce gives you an option to say, how many can somebody buy of this, right? And that's in the inventory section. So if you have not otherwise chosen to say only one of these, when you're selling a variable product, and let's make it that, you have to tell it the quantity, okay? So what we do is just simply say, and quantity equals 1, or whatever, however many you want to send to the cart. Simple as that. Okay, and that, by the way, is documented in LaunchFlows in case you're asking. So if you go over here, how to create variable product links, it reminds you the simple syntax. This is a WooCommerce thing, right? You just have to be sure to add the end quantity equals whatever the number. All right, now, what if we want to make this thing from scratch? Super easy, super fun. Let's just do that. Let's get rid of this one. We're going to do it from scratch. So what I'll do is I'll maybe make my own layout again with 2 columns. Now I'm going to use some widgets. And by the way, let's also set this thing up so the height is fit to screen. And now let's drag in a couple widgets. Now, if I have Elementor Basic, I'm going to have to do maybe a little different way of doing it. If I have Elementor Basic, I'll need to use the WooCommerce shortcodes to put some content in, or I'll have to build the buttons with like some of the options outlined. For example, instead of the drop down that gives me choices, I can go ahead and just assign the links to manual buttons or manual other drop downs. But I like using Pro for this, so I'm going to show you how Pro works. Because with Pro, you can just type in product or products, and you can use some of the components that are available to put the image in and so forth. So for example, product title, right? I can just drag the product title in, and because it knows what page I'm on, it's going to grab that title. And I can now change that wherever I want. If I continue to type product, I can do other things too. For example, Let's do the product image. We were just talking about that, right? So if I drag that over here, I get the product image because I'm on that particular product page. I can also do other stuff like the add to cart. So add to cart, and I will put that maybe at the bottom, or let's put it over here. What the heck? And you'll notice because I did not choose to limit it to 1, it gives me a quantity selector as well. And I can stylize the button and do all kinds of stuff that I want to do. You can see here I can change, the color of the quantity, the button style, the alignment, all the stuff that I think is important. Now, what does this let me do? This lets me build anything I want. So I can also add in, I don't know, I want to put a video on this layout. Okay, cool. And this is all just, drag and drop Elementor stuff. So I'm not teaching you anything that isn't available publicly to learn how to do. But essentially, this is how you go about doing it with LaunchFlows. Now, I'm going to actually change this fit to screen. I'm going to say minimum height and make it maybe like that. Okay, let's take a look at what this looks like. It's obviously unattractive, but it gives you a good idea of what's possible using all of your favorite layout tools. Now, the reason that this is important is, let's say, for example, we change this to a variable product, as I was threatening to do before. Now we'll have the option available to choose from the various variations. So let's make this a variable product. And I have to give it a couple attributes. So let's just do size. Okay, small, medium, large, used for variations. And again, for the variations, I'm going to just make these all into choices. Move me out of the way. Okay. And real quickly, I'll just assign like, well, I don't even know if I have to, but I'll assign like price or something on each of these. Okay, so like for the small, maybe I'll do 50, and the medium, I'll do 75, and the large, I'll do 100. And again, you can set this up any way you want. That's not the point. The point is that now I'll have a variable product that will be able to show the drop-down selector and the other controls wherever we want. Okay, so again, there's styling options, but you'll notice now I've got a variable product and I can jazz this page up like I was showing you with Elementor to put things wherever I want and change the look and feel of them with the widget itself. And again, you can build the same exact thing using Gutenberg or Divi, or you can use a plugin like WooCommerce that allows you to do this. And the end result is now you've got a way to create on the product page something that gives you full control over the layout, but with LaunchFlows directs it to the checkout of your choosing, and it has all the other customization. I'll just put like a text editor widget here so you could blah, 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 and you get the idea. And that's it. So the secret, using the option with your page builder to choose the right page layout and go away from the default template of WooCommerce, do the layout, make sure you add in the components, have fun, enjoy all the power and flexibility you have with LaunchFlows and how it works with everything. Doesn't matter which theme, doesn't matter which accessory, as long as it's a WooCommerce site, you can have all the control you need to build custom sales funnels, products, shops, and more. I'll see you on the next video.